Hi, everybody. It is me. I'm Brandy Renee. I am back. I'm so excited, guys. I had a really long, I don't want to say hiatus, but I took a nice long break to reconfigure the show, to get everything back in order. First time around, I was just kind of testing everything. We had a really good response. So I'm really excited to be back with you guys and sharing some wonderful new people with you. Health, beauty, hope. We're so excited. We have a lot of things planned for the rest of the year. A lot of cool people coming on to talk about a lot of cool things. And to kick off our show today, we have the wonderful Bria Williams. Hi, Bria.
Hi, Brandy. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
We're excited to have you on. So Bria is the CEO, and she is actually, it's to me breakthrough. Is it the Me Breakthrough LLC? Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
perfect. So she is a life coach. So we're going to be talking to Bria today about a very important subject to me, anxiety. It's a really big thing, that a lot of people are suffering through. I know, especially right now, there's just a lot happening in the world, and there's a lot going on, and people are just going through it. So we have you on today to talk a little bit about anxiety, how we cope with it, where it comes from. So Bria, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Where are you from originally?
So I am from Detroit. I have been living in Las Vegas for the last 7 years, almost 8 now. So I went through a huge climate change.
Yes, yes. Oh, isn't it a huge difference? But it's, out here it's a drier heat. It's not,
Yes,
there's no
yes.
humidity, but it's very, very hot here right now. It's August 4th, so we're feeling it for sure.
It is very hot.
Yes. Okay, so Bria, you are a life coach. Tell us a little bit more about what it means to be a life coach. You hear that a lot nowadays. I have, recently revamped my social media, and I have a lot of people coming on. I'm hearing life coach a lot. Could you explain a little bit more what a life coach is?
Yeah, so a life coach is an accountability partner, someone that can show you a different perspective and push you towards whatever goals you're trying to reach at this point in your life. There are so many different coaches depending on what you're looking for. There's a coach for everything.
Mhm.
I am a coach that specifically works with women with their mental and emotional health and wellness.
Okay, great. Yeah, so there are different coaches of different areas, just depending if there's career ones, personal ones. So you said you specifically work with women in their development and their emotional balance, correct?
Correct, exactly.
Okay. So what is it that made you decide to be a life coach? What's the passion behind you taking that step?
Well, a lot of times your passion is in your pain. And for a long time, I had a good career. I was working in the hotel business on the Las Vegas Strip. So it seemed like, everything was going well for me. But there was something internally that didn't feel right. I just felt like I was sent here to do something else, and I just didn't know what that was. And I found myself being angry, jealous. I'm like, Beyonce was born knowing what she wanted to do with her life. How come that wasn't me?
Yes.
I went through this phase, and once I really got in touch with my mental and my emotional side, that meaning, I got to know myself a little better. And that's not easy. And
Hmm.
that's why I wanted to become a coach to help people be able to do that. I hear people say all the time, love yourself, put yourself first. But I was one of those people who was like, well, how? How do you do that?
Right.
Like we hear about all these things that we should do, but no one really gives us the steps to do it. And there really isn't any wrong or right way. You just have to find your way. So I help women find their way.
It's perfect. That's great. So you took your own experiences and you're able to help women with that. Be like, oh, you know what? Let me help you. I got you, girl.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Exactly.
yeah. So today we're talking a little bit about anxiety. What is the definition of anxiety? What is anxiety? Everybody experiences some form of being anxious, but what exactly is anxiety?
Well, by definition, anxiety is a feeling of unease or nervousness But my personal definition is imagination. Anxiety is what we made up. We literally have feelings over something that hasn't quite happened yet. It's like crying before you get punched in the face.
Right. Yes.
I wish that there was some sort of cure or answer to anxiety. There's no way that we can pretty much get rid of it, but we can cope with it. We can find ways to notice the triggers when they're coming. We can find ways to avoid some senses of it. It's just knowing what it is and being able to move forward when it comes up.
Right, because some people say, like, well, I've, been anxious. I've had anxiety since I was a small child. I've always had it. But some people, like myself, I really, when I moved from Pennsylvania to Las Vegas, to start a new career, to start my life, I just started having like these anxiety attacks and getting anxious and getting scared. So what do you think causes, if you're just, especially for women, why do you think we have this onset of anxiety out of nowhere? Where do you think that comes from?
It's just the stress of the unknown. It's the fear of the unknown. And when we're taking a step to do anything, that's when that anxiety comes up, right? We start thinking about the what if. And especially for us women, we are so strong and we strive on being that way. And we want to be perfect in every way, to get that job, to get that car, that guy, whatever it is. So we deal with anxiety a lot, and it's really not an easy way to express it sometimes, because my anxiety can be completely different from yours.
Right.
And what we have anxiety about can be on two different sides of the planet, but that feeling is the same.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
It's the pressures of life. It's the pressures of the unknown. All of these things just cloud us in our minds, and that's when anxiety just slaps us in the face.
Well, it's so true. A lot of people, there's always a quick fix to everything. A lot of people are kind of medicating for anxiety. Do you believe in medicating for anxiety? Do you think it's more of a holistic approach is better? What are your thoughts on that?
I never really suggest medication for something like anxiety. I remember I had an anxiety attack once, and I didn't even know that I was having it. Because anxiety is the normal. If you don't know what it is, it feels like a normal feeling. It's something that we go through on a regular. But my body had just given up on me at that moment. I thought I was having a heart attack. So I went to the doctor, and thankfully my doctor prescribed me with a nap and a trip to the beach. He didn't give me any medicine, but that's when I realized, the medicine just numbs it. It just kind of makes you think in a different way to ignore it. We can't ignore it. We have to be able to deal with it and find ways to deal with it. And again, there's no right or wrong way. Right. You could deal with it differently than I can, but to numb it, once the medication goes away, you're right back to the same spot again.
Very similar to, kind of, when you're nervous and you have a glass of wine, or whatever recreational thing that you do to calm down. It's still there.
Exactly.
Afterwards.
It's still there. It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Just in the moment.
Sometimes it's worse.
In the moment.
Yeah, and definitely.
The domino effect that we have seen is, people are now becoming addicted to these medicines, because once the numbness wears off, they pop more pills, or they drink more, or they go to that drug more often because they're not dealing with it. They're just escaping it for the moment.
Absolutely. That's so true. So you spoke about being a, life coach and helping people find mental and emotional balance. What is mental and emotional balance?
So mental and emotional balance, there is a fine line between the two. And I don't think that most people really understand how easy it is to mix the two. I always say this quote: feelings are horrible leaders, but great followers.
So true.
I say that because we make decisions a lot of times off of how we feel about something, but our feelings change so often.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really know if that was a good decision to make until you snap back to your logical sense. So it's always good to make sure when you're in a situation, even practicing this daily, to think logically first and allow your feelings to catch up with that. Versus, I'm upset about this, so I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Well,
Right.
Now tomorrow your feelings have changed. Now you have to deal with this decision that you've made. But there is a fine line between the two. You just have to identify which one is appropriate for whatever situation you're dealing with in the moment.
Absolutely. And especially, why is it so important? I mean, it's important obviously for everyone to have balance, but why is it so important for women in particular to make sure they have this emotional and mental balance?
We are emotional creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes us good mothers. That's what makes us good sisters, friends, wives, because we're emotional creatures. And I wouldn't take that part away from me at all. I just need to learn how to manage it. And when we're dealing with this man's world,
yes,
a lot of men are logical thinkers, right? They don't really understand where we're coming from as women because they're not as emotional.
Mm-hmm.
We have to know how to cope with that. We have to know how to learn, this is not a time when I need to be depending on my feelings. This is the time where I need to really think about this. I heard this one minister say that when you are dying in the hospital, if your brain is damaged, it's a wrap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Call the family. You may not be able to come back from this. But people can live, breathe, walk, and talk with 10% of their heart working.
Wow.
So it's better to protect our minds and our brains first.
Mm-hmm.
Because those feelings, we can rearrange those, right? We can change those. So as women, we have to learn how to cope with those things, have to learn how to make sure that our emotions are matching our mental state as well, in order to just be able to enjoy life.
Wow. So important to have it. I mean, like I said, everyone needs to have it, but especially as women, because we're doing so many things. We're pulled in so many different directions.
And like I said, I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change the fact that I'm an emotional creature. I wouldn't change that at all. But I need to know when it's appropriate and when it's not.
Absolutely. So on the, kind of moving over to, obviously, it's important for, all women to have that balance just because we are doing so many things. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, even as a corporate, in a corporate environment, how can the lack of mental and emotional balance affect our work?
Well, how we do one thing is how we do everything, ultimately, whether you recognize it or not.
Yes.
That's just kind of what happens. And as business owners, we experience all kinds of emotions, especially in the early stages. It is vital that we remain logical at least 90% of the time. That 10%, that's when our intuitions kick in. That's when, you have to see, okay, how do I feel about making this decision based off of the logical facts that I have in front of me.
Right.
Like I mentioned before, our feelings change all the time. You don't want to be stuck with a emotional decision for your business.
Mm-hmm.
That could ultimately take you longer to kick it off because something didn't go right in the moment that you needed it to at that time.
Right.
If something is wrong, our intuition is our second brain. That's when okay, this is not just a bad feeling. This is something that I need to listen to. So it is just making sure that we are in tune with ourselves, especially for our business.
Yes.
Because we don't want to be just small business owners forever, right?
Right.
Be able to move on and move along, and a lot of that requires change. So how are you going to deal with the change? Are you going to be emotional about it, or are you going to be logical about it? So you have to be able to cope with changes in your mental state and in your emotional state, but do not allow your emotions to take over everything.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Because it's just so easy to just, when you're
It's
dealing with
so
so much
easy.
pressure, yes, to just be like, you know what, no, I don't care. I'm not going to do this. And you're looking at it
It's
later, you're like,
so easy.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why people give up.
Hmm.
That's why people give up because, in those early stages when things aren't going right, how many times have we cried at night? Does
Yes.
that mean that you're just going to stop because
Hmm.
you've had this one bad day? No, you have to keep going. Don't allow that feeling to stop you from proceeding.
So you're saying, you say you have to keep going, you can't give up, you have to struggle through, push through. So what are some tools that can help us maintain that and achieve? Well, even if we don't have it yet, how can we maintain or achieve that emotional and mental balance? What are some tools that we can use for that?
Well, I always say that first and foremost, you have to go into this with the mindset of mental and emotional wellness is a journey that will last forever.
Hmm.
If something goes wrong and you feel like you have made a bad decision based on how you feel, it's okay. You're not going to learn this overnight and be free from all mental and emotional issues. Like they're always going to come. There's always room for growth in it. And I also think that's the beauty in it. There's no limit on how you can achieve mental and emotional wellness.
Hmm.
So that's like the first thing I always say. Give yourself a break.
Yes.
Don't be too hard on yourself. It is okay. And next is just identifying small things about yourself, identifying how you're using your time,
Hmm.
identifying how you're using your relationships to your benefit and how are you benefiting people. These things about learning yourself more and learning how other people are viewing you, especially the ones that love you, they'll give you more clarity about yourself. So when you have more clarity, you are able to cope better because you know what you are and you know what you are not. And you know how to move forward from there. Knowing your triggers, knowing those things that are going to set that anxiety off, knowing what's
Yes.
going to set that anger off, knowing these things. And sometimes you can't avoid them, but at
Yes.
least identifying what they are so that you can manage how to move forward from there.
And
So those are just like some of the early stages of it, some of the things that you can start doing right now
hmm
in order to achieve those mental and emotional wellness that we're looking for, that peace.
Yes, the inner peace. And I was going to ask you, would you say, like, you said it's important to achieve that inner peace. Is your environment a factor? The peace around you, the people, is that a huge factor in triggers
Absolutely.
also?
Absolutely. It affects us more than we realize that it does.
Hmm.
Your environment, who you choose to be around, who you choose to have conversations with, even how you entertain yourself.
Hmm.
All these things are a factor. If we are trying to live a healthy life and we're eating better and we're, exercising more, you also need to keep in mind what you're watching, what you're listening to. These things are a part of a whole wellness. Your friends, what kind of conversations are you having with them?
Hmm.
Are they not quite on the same level as you? Are you growing well with people? That's a huge one. It's a blessing if you have friends that you've had for years because you've noticed that you grow well together.
Right.
And also realizing that sometimes, a lot of times, everybody can't go with you. So when
Hmm.
you notice that these relationships are, breaking apart, it's okay. When you lose a friend, it can be heartbreaking and liberating at the same time. And I
Right.
say heartbreaking because obviously you're losing someone that you love, but it's liberating because you've noticed that you are in a different chapter in your life now.
Right.
And now it's time to move forward.
And
But environment plays a huge, huge role, huge role.
absolutely. You kind of notice that. You notice the anxiety going away because you're not trying to constantly please everybody, people who, especially who are not aligned with what your purpose is.
Exactly. And
That
I
can
have
be
told clients
debilitating.
before, I've told clients before, if you show me your 5 best friends, I'll show you where you'll be in 5 years. And they're like,
Wow.
really? I said, truly, yes. If you show me 5 people that you interact with regularly, I will tell you where you'll be in the next 5 years. That matters. That matters.
Wow. Yeah, because your environment is who you are, very much, definitely.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
So that being said, this is why I guess you would say that it's important to kind of have that life coach, accountability person, because they're going to speak to you from a place that you might not be looking to hold you accountable for these
Exactly.
things.
Hmm.
Wow.
They
That
see a
makes so much sense.
perspective.
Hmm.
Yeah, a perspective that you may not see. When you're living in it, you don't always see things, right? How many
Absolutely.
times have we had friends tell us, leave that man alone, relax. We don't see it when you're in that moment. But when
Yes.
you have an accountability partner, especially someone that doesn't have that emotional tie to you, we're not family. We're not best friends. We're literally working together to work towards your goals and the things that you need. You go in this with the understanding of, I have to do this because there is someone here that is watching me.
Right.
There is someone here that I have invested into making these things work. So I believe that every person on the planet needs a coach. I have a coach. I am a coach.
Everybody
I
needs
just
that
think that it's
accountability.
important.
Yes.
Exactly.
Do you have any special workshops or projects you're working on coming up?
I don't have any currently coming up. I've been working on some things, but I don't have the dates yet, and I'll be sure to let you know when those things come up. But I am always open to doing workshops, group coaching, to anybody that's looking for even like girls' nights, things like that, for their businesses. I know a lot of businesses are getting into wellness, and they want their teams to be mentally stable and emotionally stable. So they do bring in a lot of coaches to speak with their team. I'm open for that. So, yeah, I would definitely keep you updated on the things that I have coming up.
Fantastic. And let our listeners know how they can, watch your progress, see your updates, reach out to you, let them know how they're able to do that.
I am very easy to get in contact with. I have multiple ways. You can go on my website, which is BriaWilliams.com. On Facebook, Bria Williams, or The Me Breakthrough. I have a group page, and that's my personal page. On Instagram, Bria_Will. You can send me a direct message. Also in the bio, you can click and schedule a chat with me. So I am always open to anyone who wants to know more about coaching, if they want to hire me as a coach, or if they're looking for a coach in a specific area. I know plenty of coaches where I can help guide you in the right direction.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for kicking off Health Beauty Hope with me. The new relaunched version. It was amazing. Thank you so much for providing all your
I know.
information and just talking. And, because I know, like, I suffer from anxiety, and it's like, it's not, it's not terrible. It's not super bad, but you just talking to you today, you've definitely put it into perspective of what can be triggering that, what's
Yeah.
causing that. And I have to just kind of figure out, also my environment, what's going on. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. And all of you guys, yeah, all of you guys who are in the Health Beauty Hope group on Facebook, they can, I'm going to make a post about this particular session, so they can leave comments, questions, ask you questions. And also, guys, I'm going to have an article with a little bit more detailed information being published tomorrow on our show today, so look forward to that. And thank you again for coming out, talking to me, and I look forward to you having be on the show again in the future. That'd be just so cool, amazing. I love having you on. So hopefully you can come back on and talk about some more things soon.
Yes, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed this.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure everyone who's listening is going to, be inspired. And thank you just for having this avenue and this outlet for,
Thank you.
Women like us.
Yes. Yes. Because we're trying to get up there with Beyonce. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. I'm going to go ahead and cue out some music, but thank you guys for listening, and I will talk to you guys next week. I have 2 shows next week, next Saturday and next Sunday, the 10th and 11th. We have kind of a double whammy, so I will talk to you guys next week. Thank you for listening.